Boom, live there. We'll start right here. What's going on? This is Marcus, and this is our workout today, Monday workout with your single kettlebell. So what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be focusing on rotational movements. So when I started with kettlebells, everything was sagittal. Everything was just kind of hinging. That's all I was doing. A lot of swinging, a lot of cleaning, and that was great. And there's still so much power in that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in some rotational exercises. So we're going to take some variations of the swing, the clean, the snatch, and then we're going to add some rotation in. So we'll start with a warm-up. We'll go through the movements. Hopefully this will at least give you some ideas. This was a workout that I like to incorporate into more of my conditioning workouts because when I'm doing rotational work, I don't want to go excessively heavy, especially if I'm starting off with this. If these are new exercises for you, definitely scale back a little bit. So first thing I want to just at least talk about, mention, when it comes to adding rotation, because we're going to be adding a full pivot, make sure you're using either flat-soled shoes or something that you have a lot of control with, because the goal here is you're going to be pivoting on your feet. So what I don't want, if you're using like big, bulky runners or something like that, it's going to be a lot harder to pivot on. Same thing if on the surface that you're on, if you're on carpet or if you're on something that it's going to catch a little bit, just be mindful of that. So I don't want you to start like trying to rotate too fast and then you don't really have a lot of control. So same rules apply when we're doing rotational work as when we're doing traditional kettlebell exercises. Always think maintaining core tension, maintaining your breath. Don't let all your breath out. So when I'm rotating, whatever position I'm in, I always want to maintain that tension and I want to maintain that extension through my upper back. So I don't want to start rounding and then rotating and doing all this other stuff. So, very rightfully so, we don't want to just jump into rotation, but at the same time, life happens in rotation. Every sport is rotation. So the faster that you can master adding rotation, especially with your weights, whatever weight that is for you, the safer and the more athletic you're going to feel. All right, so we'll do a 3-part warm-up. We're just going to start with some arm circles, get the shoulders nice and lubricated, which is a terrible word for joints. But anyway, we're going to go forward first, and then we're going to go back. So the goal of this workout is going to be conditioning. We're going to keep it light, keep it fast-paced. But what I want you to do is, if these are new exercises for you, either follow along with a very, very light weight, or just watch, take some notes, and then try them at a later time so that way you can practice them. So as always, the goal here is to give you some workouts, give you some stuff that you can incorporate, but then also just to hopefully broaden your horizon, enhance your perspective, to try some different things and find what works for you. It might not be this entire workout. It might just be a few exercises. It might just be one exercise. You might just get one little nugget of an idea, and that's enough for me. All right, on the ground, so into some alternating shin box or 90-90. So put my hands on the ground just for some extra support. I'm going to bring my hips to one side, and I'm going to keep that rotation going. So I'm going to come to the other side, keep that rotation going, just back and forth. Warm up the hips, warm up the lower back, warm up shoulders, feel myself inching forward, and let go, back to standing. Let's go one more time. I don't take too long when it comes to my warm-ups, just enough time to feel warm. See the spectrum from just grab it, rip it and grip it, let's go. Let's just grab the weight, let's start, and then let's take this nice 28-minute warm-up. It's like whatever works for you, but I like to just kind of get into it pretty quickly. Back into rotations. So if you're just tuning in, we're going into a single kettlebell rotational workout. We're doing some fun stuff. I'm not gonna lie, these are some of my favorite movements. I say that about every movement, every course I taught. What's your favorite exercise? And I just think of a new one right there. That's my favorite exercise. That's the one I can remember right now. Back on the ground, alternating shin box into a reach. So shin box, and then reach. Other side, and then reach. Hopefully you have a little bit more clearance so you can reach a little bit further back. Hope you guys are enjoying your daylight savings time because I keep forgetting about it. And all right, let's get to it. So first exercise we're gonna start off with a dead start clean into a squat into a rotational press. Cut my head out of it. So dead start clean into a squat into a rotational press. So it's kind of like a fancy complex. So we're gonna start with the bell on the inside of the left foot. I'm gonna rotate to that side. So when I rotate, I'm rotating my back foot, rotating up through my hip, and I'm rotating through my torso. So when I grab onto that bell, that starting position, I still feel strong. So I can definitely go heavier on this. But what I don't want you to do is just grab it and just start kind of pulling at the weight. So get into a strong position first before you start making any of these transitions. So I feel solid. All my weight is on one foot. I've rotated on the other side. My hips are down low. Shoulders are above the hips. Engage my lat. So I'm going to explode up. Very simple. Just cross the body into a squat. And then as I stand up, I'm going to pivot back to that side. Pull right back. Bring that bell right back down. So rotate, squat, pivot into that rotational press. Back down. So you can start to move quickly as long as you've got all these pieces, all these landmarks kind of dialed in. You understand that position. You understand how to maintain that tension and how to generate that power even in these kind of offset positions. And down. And what I like about this one is it's an easy way to start to add in rotation with the clean. And what I've actually found with the Deadstart Rotational Clean, it actually is a fantastic beginner exercise because it teaches people how the bell rotates around. So when they rotate their entire torso and that bell is rotating around with them, it makes it much easier to control that rotation. So if I'm doing a traditional clean and I'm doing the hinge, and then as I'm pulling up, I'm having to rotate my forearm, that very rightfully so happens with new people, the bell slams over. But if I add in full rotation here, now because I'm adding that full rotation of the torso, it makes it much easier for that bell to rotate around. So I've had new clients that get the Deadstart Rotational Clean extremely fast, and then that translates into the traditional clean as well. All right, other side. A lot of moving parts here. We're going to squat, right into rotational press. So remember, I want you to very freely be able to pivot. So moving through the balls of your feet, but maintaining control. Right into a squat, and then right into that rotational press. Back down. So, Deadstart Rotational Clean. Already forgot. Right back down. Cross the body. Rotational clean. Squat. Right into that press. When you're in this press, just be mindful you're not hyperextending, you're not reaching too far back. So if you're in this top position and you find you have to drive your hips forward a lot, or you're really arching at your upper back, then don't come up as high. Just come up into a partial press and then right back down. So that you're getting that pivot, you're driving through that back foot, but you're not hyperextending as you go through this. All right. What's up, Tommy? I almost called you Tammy. Tommy in Texas. What? All right, next one we're gonna do, it's gonna be a little bit more challenging. We're gonna do a rotational snatch. So I'm gonna do it from the rack position. I'm not gonna drop from the top. I'm gonna do from the rack position. I'm gonna come across the body. I'm gonna pull up, and I'm gonna do a full 90-degree rotation. So I'm gonna do this with a really light weight first, and just do it super, super slow, so you can see it. I'm gonna be in the rack position. I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna extend my arm, let that bell. This pendulum right here is gonna be where that runway comes from. It's gonna give me the ability to really pull from that pendulum and get into that overhead position. So I'm gonna extend, make sure the bell's away from my arm, so I'm not waiting too long, and then it jerks me down. Extend. I'm gonna come across. As it comes across, slight pivot. And then as I pull up, I'm gonna do the exact same thing as I would with a normal snatch, where the bell's gonna come around, land in that overhead position. So as I rotate, pull, as I come across, same thing as I would with a traditional snatch, I'm gonna drive my hips and then use that momentum to let the weight come back up. Okay, so what you don't want is just letting the weight swing up and then bell slams to the forearm, and then you're mad at me and it's not good for anybody. So in that rack position, go across the body. Use that tension, use your breath. Breathe in, tense up. So I'm doing a full 90-degree pivot. Back down. Notice how the bell stays close to my body as I go across my midline. So what I don't want to do is let that bell just keep on swinging. I want to bring it up. Stay tight, right back down. All right? Pull, pivot, right back down. Oh. And if you do that properly and you create enough intra-abdominal tension to make that, or to give yourself that stability, you're not going to feel any pressure on your lower back outside of actually working your lower back. But what I want to avoid when we're doing a lot of these rotational exercises, combining with hinging, is putting too much stress on the lower back. Oh, what's up in North England? Can't believe I read that from this far. LASIK surgery for the win. Cross and pull. So I'll go a little bit faster now. So the main thing here is clearing the knees. So as I come across, give you a side angle. As I come across, notice how I'm in a slight hinge. That hinge is what clears the knees. And the next drill is going to show you exactly that. Been doing these for years, yet to hit my knees. And down. And down. Oh man. Love that exercise. God, it's just a fun exercise. And when you master that and get good at that, you can start having a lot of fun with it. You can start adding in, 360s. And I'll go into that stuff a little bit. All right, next one we're gonna do. We're gonna go into a pendulum. So a rotational pendulum, side-to-side pendulum. What this is gonna do is this is going to reinforce that hip out of the way so that the bell can come across. Because that's the main thing. Whenever you start doing rotational work, the first thing people say is, I'm gonna hit my knees. And it's like, well, yeah, of course, if you don't have the proper technique or if you're not in the right position. So that's why I really like this exercise here. So you're gonna start with the bell, 2 hands, right against your body, stand up nice and tall. Drive your hips back. So now we're in this nice, strong position, keeping a lot of tension through my upper back, through my lower back, through my glutes. And from here, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the bell to one side. So I'm gonna keep my knees in line with my feet. So what I'm not gonna do is let my knees do this like little terrible like dance thing. We're gonna come across and across, across and across, back and forth. So I'm keeping a ton of tension on my abs the entire time, somehow while talking at the same time. I'm keeping a ton of tension through my lats. You can time your breath to it. But what you'll notice with this, besides it really sucking, is how much glute engagement you get. So if you do it properly, you focus with your knees, push back, back and forth. So it's almost like your feet and your knees are on train tracks. So you can't break the train tracks as you're going through it. As you drive your knee back, the other knee comes forward. You're rotating slightly. As you drive your other knee back, you're rotating. So you're keeping in line. You can go a little bit more rotational with your torso, but the goal here is to really focus on the hips. So when you're doing this, you should feel a stretch through your glute, through your hips, through your hamstrings, back and forth. So as I start, go to one side, you'll feel that tension through one side. Go to the other side, feel that tension through the other side. If you do it properly, your glutes, your quads, and your abs are just gonna feel on fire. Of course, just naturally, you're gonna be putting a lot of pressure on your lower back, especially if you don't create a lot of tension. So start really light with that one and go nice and slow at first, and you can control it and really engage your lats as you do that. You had me in the first half. Yes, dude, I'm telling you, pendulums are the sneakiest exercise. Because as soon as you start like, oh, it's stupid, oh my God. I can't tell you how many workshops I've taught where people start that exercise and they grab something heavy. I'm like, yo, just grab something light. And they start going. And then, like I said, you can add in a pause. Ah! And all of a sudden now, your lats are just on fire. And then you can start adding in speed. And then from there, you can start adding in some extra movements. You can start letting go of the bell, go right into it. So as long as you master that pendulum swing, That's going to give you the clearance, the technique, the confidence to start doing a lot of the other more flashier movements. All right, last one, nice and simple one. I like this one. I'm going to go a little bit lighter though. We're going to do rotational halo, and then I'll go through it again. So I'm going to bring that bell around, and then as I come around, I'm going to rotate through that back or through that other side and come right back up. So as I'm coming to my left, I'm rotating to my right, back and forth. And I love halos have been like between these, Mace 360s, shoulder openers. My freaking shoulders feel good, mobile, and back. I forgot where I saw these first. I think it was Eric Leha. Shout out to Primal. I like these. And back. Oh, you can also use those as a warm-up. You can also add some pieces of that. Add in a lunge, add in a squat, all kinds of fun things. Definitely a great workout. Nice. Attaboy, Tommy. All right. Let's do it a little bit faster pace now. Do some time on this one. So we've gone through the exercises. So if you weren't here to work out, you're just here to learn a few things on some of these different movements. Awesome. Hopefully that helps. We're going to start off with the Deadstart Rotational Clean. And we're just going to go right into press. So we'll take the squat out just for the sake of ease here. So that way you feel a little bit more comfortable. All right. Deadstart Rotational Clean. Right into the press. So now I can add that full 90-degree turn, 90-degree turn. Right back. Use that tension. Do not forget the tension. Most important part here, keeping that abdominal tension, that core tension here. Oh, back down. Whew. See 30 seconds on the other side, and then we'll take a quick break. All the way, rotate. All the way, rotate. So control each movement at first. Set yourself up. Make sure you're balanced, and then you can start to get fluid with it. Oh. You can add in a little lateral flexion. So even on that rotational clean, when you catch it right before the press, little landmine pressing, wet the stuff there. But otherwise, stay nice and upright. But what I like about this one, if you do it with a lot of control and you practice this, you're going to feel it in slightly different places. So, of course, heavy clean and presses, fantastic. But if you need a break from heavy, or you're looking for something or to add in some rotation, to add in some conditioning, this is a phenomenal combination here. All right. Like I said, you're just going to feel this in different places, all the way down to your lower extremities. Everything just gets a little extra work because you're being so mindful. If you try that with your eyes closed, whew, even better. I mean, not right now, because you got to watch this, but eventually. All right, rotational snatch. Ready. And back up. And then back to the rack position. Toss it out, back up. Back to the rack position. So I'm still driving through my lower body. This is not a predominantly upper body exercise. It's using that momentum of the weight, that runway, with that driving of the legs. Back down. Oof. Oh, I should have just finished it. Bell. Check it out. Make sure you're using a loose enough grip as you do this. So don't overly tense up the grip. It'll be very easy to do that at first, because if this is the first time you're swinging across your midline, then it's going to be very easy to be like, oh, I don't want to let go. Just loosen up the grip just enough so that the bell will either rotate or you can punch through. It's a little bit easier to rotate at the top position than it is to punch through. All right, other side. Back up, back down. Tense, tense, tense. So right here especially, but the entire time I'm tensing up, right here, I am bracing like I'm about to get kicked in the stomach or one of my kids is about to jump on me. So I'm keeping a ton of tension the entire time. Chest nice and proud. Oh. I don't care, Bill, I'm gonna finish. back down. Oh, again, it will, if it's new for you, go light. I know I'm sounding like a broken record. I'm just reiterating this because I want to make sure that you stay safe, because when you start adding that rotation, especially from this hinge, it will put more pressure on your lower back. And then just inherently, you are going to be working that musculature more. So you are going to feel tension there, and you most likely will feel a little sore there, especially if this is the first time you've done this. Nice. Love it. And if there's any questions up here, I will get to them eventually. Just kidding, I can't scroll. Awesome. Thanks, Instagram. All right, let's go to pendulum swings. So I'm only going to go 20 seconds here. You do not need a lot for this one. So remember, get in your position, pull your shoulders back. If this is hard for you, just hold the hinge. Hold that position right here. If that's easy, then just start moving in these shallow movements. If that feels good, go a little bit further. Extend beyond the foot or beyond the leg. Then you can start adding some speed. Then you can start adding tension in the other direction. So once I get to that end point, I want to immediately pull on the other side. Oh, that's really hard to do while talking. So, but you'll feel that through your obliques, definitely through your lower back, which isn't a bad thing. You got to work the lower back, and then throughout your glutes, hamstrings, everything kind of gets worked there. All right, last one. Let's go into the halo with the rotation. So get in the halo, get that full rotation, rotate off that back foot or off the opposite foot in the direction I'm going. And go. And back. So I can make this a little bit more explosive. Just don't knock yourself out. Literally, don't knock yourself out. Otherwise, even just control. I love controlled halos. A mistake I made when I started with kettlebells was going extremely heavy with halos. It was like, I don't know what the hell. Ego, trying to do like crazy 32Ks, 40Ks, like, oh, I got halos. Man. And then I got older. I got a little bit wiser, and then really focused on using light weight for the halos, for bent presses, for get-ups, for windmills, all those, and shoulders just feel so good. I don't know about you, but I want to feel good at my workouts. I don't want to just crush myself with hundreds or thousands of reps and just for the sake of getting a certain weight up. Like, that doesn't interest me. What interests me is feeling good, moving well, looking moderately well. All right, let's go one more time through it. So on this last one we're going to do, I'm going to add a little more spice to it. So I'm going to do a little more rotation. I'm going to add in some alternating stuff just to give you, again, some different ideas. That's right. There's a billion workouts. There's probably more than a billion workouts out right now. So my goal is just to give you some new things that you can incorporate into your workouts to empower you, the worker outer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the rack position. I'm going to go rotational clean right into rotational press. To get fancy, I'm going to switch just with two hands and then keep it going. So eventually you can turn this into like a whole 360, which I just did on my page. All right, so I'm going to go for a minute here. All right. I'll do it nice and controlled. 360 clean, right into to rotational press. Two hands switch, keep that momentum alive. 360 clean. So now we've got this endless loop. The entire time, you might get so focused on mesmerized. Oh, I lost it here. And then right into the clean. You're going to get memorized. I just got mesmerized by the bell. But maintain that tension, maintain position, make sure you're pivoting easily. So notice how I'm just keeping that momentum going. Right around. Oh. So I can start getting fancy with it, letting go. Keep it going. All right, back up. Figuring out things to say while I'm getting tired. Oh, all right. So that's your first time doing that. You might be like, what is the point of that? Number one, just adding that rotation is so valuable. Adding that hand-to-hand transition, and then just pulling from different positions. So if you're always doing the same thing over and over and over, yes, you're going to build the skill, you're going to get stronger. I'm not discounting that in any way, but I want you to be strong in all positions, okay? I I want you to be able to pull from across your body. I want you to have the wherewithal to be able to hinge while the bell is coming across your body and rotate into that, so you have that body awareness that's going to translate into better force output with other exercises, with traditional exercises. So the more body awareness and control you have, the stronger, more resilient, and the less prone to injury you will be. All right. And it just gets fun. That's what excites me about kettlebells, is being able to explore, play, try new things. So as you've mastered those movements, being able to go beyond those movements, not like, okay, I've graduated from traditional exercises, now I'm in these things. It's just a way to just explore the spectrum of kettlebells. So that way you find what you like. And I promise you, if you are a very strict, I only do these X movements, you will find some aspect of one of those movements that you enjoy, that you can incorporate into your training, that you can apply progressive overload, all the things that you would normally do with traditional training. You can do that with this. So don't poo-poo it until you try it. All right, so alternating rotational snatches. So I'm gonna go across the body. I'm gonna bring it down, switch, and then keep going. So the same idea. Now I'm just not adding in a press. Switch, keep it going. And once you get good and you understand how to position yourself, then you can start doing cross-body snatches, which are a really fun exercise. You can start adding in, lunges with that. Start getting creative with that. Keeping lots of tension here. Two-hand switch. Add that rotation. Make sure I'm pivoting. I'm driving through the ground. I'm not looking at the time. Just give me 15 seconds. Back up. Abs tight. Don't forget. Control. And oh my gosh. That's a fun one. That is a fun one. You can start getting real fancy with that one. Awesome. Have you ever destroyed a timer? No, these timers are literally 25. I got these in 2008. 2008. They're the best timers. Not sponsored. No ad. All track. But you can put the numbers in. So instead of just being like start, stop. Anyway, this isn't a timer ad, but this thing is awesome. Surprisingly, I haven't broken anything with the kettlebell. Oh, the only thing I broke was at a friend's gym. I tried to flip the 150-pound bell the first time, and it definitely put a little hole in the one-piece flooring. So a little hole in revival strength up in San Rafael. My bad. All right, let's go into pendulum swings. So I'm only gonna go get 20 seconds, just because we've done already so many of these movements. I want to overdo it. Adding a little more rotation here. As I'm shifting my weight side to side. Lots of tension. Time. And then we'll finish off with rotational halos. And if there's any questions, I'll answer them. But just remember, with workouts like these, especially if it's a lot of new exercises, don't go ham with it. Don't try to do everything all at once, everywhere. What was that movie? It was okay. Do the movements that you feel comfortable, at speeds you feel comfortable, at ranges of motion that you feel comfortable with. So with any exercise, I don't like to think of things in terms of like advanced beginner, but I want you to think of how you can take any exercise. If you can decrease the speed and the distance traveled or the range of motion, then you can really apply it to anybody. So it makes it very accessible. So, swings, you can control the speed. You start to add in the compact swing. Cleans, you can control the speed and distance if you're doing hang cheek curls. So my point is there's always a variation that kind of works for everybody. All right. So hopefully you got that. I will save it on here. I'll put the workout and everything on here so that way you get everything you need to succeed. I was gonna go need for speed, but wrong application. Anyway, so with these type of workouts, again, this is not to take away from traditional go heavier, sagittal, two-handed type of exercises. It's just to enhance. So I would rather someone have multiple tools in their toolbox So that way they can apply the right tool to the right job. So for my clients, I want to expand their knowledge, expand the way they do things, so that way they can really experience more with not just kettlebells, but their own training, their body, the way that they do things, the way they move, rather than just like, oh, do the same thing over and over and over and over. It's like, it's boring. That's not the way I've trained. That's not the way I like to train people. And that keeps me feeling good, feeling healthy, and able to play some pickleball or two, which is there. Exactly. Multiple tools, and not just kettlebells. There's lots of tools in here. I got all kinds of things off screen. All right, I'll see if there's any. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. Awesome. Fire emoji. Good question. All right, that's a lot of. Awesome. Well, if there are any questions, feel free to slide in my DMs. I don't tend to know or pretend that I have all the answers, but I do have a lot of answers. So hopefully I can help you, or at the very least guide you in the right direction to the right methodology, to the right coach. And then, again, just help you become a better, stronger athlete and just feel good, enjoy your training. That's a piece of training that I think the kettlebell unconventional community has definitely embraced, which is they want to do things that make them feel good and they want to do things that they enjoy doing. It's not just like about the suck. It's about, okay, some aspects are not going to feel really good and I'm going to have to push myself, but ultimately I want to feel good and I want to enjoy my workout. Like that's how I train. And that's probably why I haven't injured myself in the end. But I want you to find what you enjoy. So if it's in kettlebells, find the not method, because there's so many different methods. I want you to employ all of them, whether it's kettlebell sport, whether it's hard style, whether it's stuff that I like to teach, whether it's rotational work, whatever it is, flow. I want you to incorporate all of it so that way you can enhance your experience and get the most from your training, rather than like, all right, I got to do this workout, I got to check this box. It's like, no, even with the programs that I put out, I want people to be able to customize it to their own needs. So that way they can make it exactly what they need at the right time. Anyway, all right, that's my rant. That's it. That's all I got. It's Monday. Surprisingly, I haven't had any coffee yet. All right. Awesome, Tommy. I'm glad you enjoyed. If there's any questions up here, I will answer them in the DMs. All right. I'll see you on the next one. Ciao. This is still going. All right. So.